Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Seneca, Executive Director of Neighbors Together. I wanted to make a quick video to thank everyone for coming out to our press conference today. It was a beautiful moment. It was a pleasure and a privilege to share it with my neighbors. Thank you for all who came out to cover our event and who are writing about it and will write about it. First to the party is Marissa Kendall. She wrote an article about us for various outlets that's being covered by, including the Mercury News. Marissa, thank you first and foremost for coming out and taking the time to cover our event, to talk to people who are there in the audience. We really appreciate you doing that and trying to get to the heart of what Neighbors Together is about. I must say, I'm a little alarmed at some of your article. I want to go into it quickly with you to communicate what I thought were some problematic statements and inaccuracies, if you will. So I'll start with the first one. You said, fed up with homeless encampment, watching interfere with their quality of life. Oaklanders are forming new grassroots groups around an overarching goal, pressuring city officials to crack down and clear out camps. That couldn't be further from the truth. And I think that we had a broad-based coalition of people there, including people from our unhoused community who spoke to what Neighbors Together's mission was about. And it's not to pressure city officials to crack down and clear out camps. It's to pressure city officials to follow the encampment management policy that they unanimously passed during the height of the election last October. We said that during our press release, and that was repeated across several speakers during today's event. And what was also repeated by several speakers was that the encampment management policy is a management policy, not a closed-in policy. I would say to juxtapose that with Austin, who recently voted to make public camping illegal. It's meant to work with community organizations and nonprofits, as well as city governments and other programs to make sure that we manage our encampments to that those spaces are more livable while we find urgent housing for people. And also, there's no cracking down and clearing out camp. That's a very strong language to be associated with Neighbors Together. None of that language or any of that intention was used today. And to start your article like this, it really makes me think that you have an agenda to condition a reader to believe that we're completely in opposition to homeless advocacy groups. If you do some research, you'll find that I've met with many homeless advocacy groups, one of which is Neighborship, who you also failed to mention. Adam from Neighborship, the executive director, Garrett Clark, was one of our keynote speakers. He spoke about an issue that they're having there, an eviction with the city. This is a pretty hot story being covered by a lot of other outlets who will be covering this shortly. So readers, you can compare Melissa's article to other people's article who came, and you can see for yourself who actually did the job. But I'll go on. And there is another part here that is interesting. You quoted me, and you said that I called it absolutely insane that mountains of trash, burned out cars, and upper rubble are allowed to accumulate at encampment sites like the one on Wood Street. I never mentioned Wood Street. Wood Street never came out of my mouth. So you're putting encampments. Wood Street is in the middle of an incredibly important and intense battle with Caltrans. And you knew that people would look at Wood Street and associate that with this fight. Oof. So shame on you, Marissa. Really, it's really disappointing. This is really disappointing. You're so divisive. You need to take a hard look at yourself in the mirror. This is not what Neighbors Together is about. And we will have our own voice. Our own cameras will roll, and we will show the world what we did at that press conference if you're not going to cover us clearly. And so let me go on. There's more. Emery Mello. Emery Mello is a member of Bottoms Up Community Garden. Emery Mello is a member of Neighbors Together. Emery Mello was invited to speak, and they spoke passionately about their experiences being unhoused by choice and what they feel about the conditions in the city. You didn't mention that Emery spoke. You mentioned that Emery was there, And you got comments in an interview with Emory, but you never mentioned that they were a speaker and that we invited them to speak under our banner and that they were a member of Neighbors Together. Extremely manipulative. It's almost a lie by omission, if you will. What's even more interesting, is that you put a quote from the East Oakland collective, Candace Elder, who I know, we're going to talk. It's not like I don't know these people. I don't know. Maybe you don't do your homework or know who I am, but I know Candace. Candace spoke, and you got a quote from Candace, but you associated that quote with Emory. And I'll read it right now because it's really slick. It's not like you're not an experienced journalist. You know exactly what you're doing. Not everyone in the Garden Tuesday supported Oakland's encampment management policy. Emory Mello, who is homeless in West Oakland, worries the policy will result in unhoused people being pushed from one place to another and ended up far away from services they need. We also share that concern. That's why Emory is an ally. If you want to solve homelessness, I think we should push for real solutions, Mello said, not policies that aim for out-of-sight, out-of-mind solutions. Candace Elder, founder and CEO of East Oakland Collective, agrees the Town Sweep Initiative is not the solution. So you just added Emory to Candace and you made them an alliance with each other and failed to mention that actually Emory is in alliance with us and is a member of Neighbors Together and was speaking with us. How incredibly duplicitous. Again, shame on you. We're not going to let you get away with this. We're going to tell this story in public. So anyway, you did an okay job. I'll give you a C-. You showed up. That's half the battle. But you got to do better. Peace out. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.